Hello guys, welcome back to another Android Studio tutorial. In today's episode we are going to learn about how to manage your Android application appearance in different screen sizes. In the case of a large display you can display more informations, but in the case of a small display you need to use multiple activities or multiple fragments to display the more informations. So you need to manage your application appearance for different screen sizes. The Fragment API is the better choice to manage your application appearance for different screen resolutions. So here I am going to create an Android application that will automatically manage its appearance based on the screen size. So before going to make the application, here I am going to show you a simple application that will automatically adjust its appearance for different screen size. So this is a tab display. So this application contains two fragments. So whenever this application runs on a large display, it will show two fragments. The left fragment will display some headline and the right fragment will display some description for the headline. So whenever I select an headline on the right fragment, it will display more information corresponding to this headline. That means the news description. Whenever I select another headline, it will change the content of the second fragment based on the selection on the first fragment. So in this case, this one is a large display. So I can display two fragments side by side. This is the first fragment and this is the second fragment. But if the same application run on a small device, there is not much enough space for a small display, so I can display only one fragment at a time. So I have to manage this application appearance for different screen sizes. In this case there is plenty of space is available, so I can display two fragments side by side. Now I am going to run the same application on a small device. Okay, now here I run the same application on a small display device. So if I run the same application on a small display device, it will show only the first fragment. That means the headline fragment. So the user can select an headline from the first fragment. So here I select the first headline. It will show another activity that contains the second fragment. It will show the news article corresponding to headline 1. Now here I am going to select headline 2. So now here the second fragment contains the news article corresponding to headline 2. So if the same application run on a large display, it will show two fragments side by side. The first fragment will display the headlines and the second fragment will display the news article. But if the same application run on a small display device, it will show only the headline fragment. So whenever user select one of the headlines, it will display another activity that contains the second fragment, and the second fragment display the news article corresponding to the news user selection. So now we are going to create this application. Okay, now we are going to make the same application. So we have to create two launcher activity layout file. This is because for a large display device we have to display two fragments on the activity main.xml file. But in the case of a small display, we can display only one fragment. So we need two activity main.xml file. That means we need two layout for the launcher activity. Here the launcher activity is the main activity.java. So in normal case there is only one launcher layout, activity main.xml. But here in this case we need to manage our application appearance in different screen sizes. For in the case of a large display, we have to display two fragments side by side. The first fragment will display the headlines and the second fragment will display the articles. And in the case of a small device, we can display only the headline fragment. So we need two activity main.xml file for the main activity. So now here I am going to manage the application appearance for large display devices. For that we need to create another activity main.xml file. So right click the layout file and select the layout resource file and same file name activity main.xml, and change the layout into layout large. Layout large and click OK. Now inside the layout directory you can see another activity main.xml is available, but the directory is large. So if the device is a large display device, for example in the case of a tab display, the Android system will automatically select the launcher layout from the large directory. So in the case of a large display we can put two fragments, but in the case of a small display we can display only one fragment, that is a headline fragment. Okay. Now we need to add two fragments. First fragment is for displaying the headlines and the second fragment for displaying the news articles. So now I am going to create the first fragment. So first we have to create the layout for the first fragment. So right click the layout file and create layout resource file. I name it as headline fragment layout and click OK. So first we have to add a list view into this layout that will display the headlines. Now here I am going to design this layout for the first fragment. Okay, now here I finished the design for the headline fragment layout. So here I add a list view with ID list headline, and here I change the background color of this layout into black. Okay. So this contains a list view for displaying the headlines. Now we have to create a class for this fragment. So right click the package and create a new Java class. And here I am going to name it as headline fragment. And click OK. This is a fragment, so extends fragment and override the onCreateView method. Now we have to inflate this fragment. So first create an object of view class, name it as view equal to inflator dot inflate, specify the layout r dot layout dot headline fragment layout. Now container is the view group and false. And finally return this view. So return view. Okay, now we have the first fragment that will display the headlines. Now we have to create another fragment for displaying the news articles. Now here I am going to add another layout for the second fragment. So right click the layout folder and create a new layout resource file and name it as news article. Simply name it as article layout, article fragment layout, article fragment layout, and click OK. Now here we need to add two text view. The first text view is for displaying the news headline and another text view for displaying the news contents. Now here I am going to make the design. Okay, now here I finished the design of the news article fragment. Here add a text view for displaying the news heading, and here is a view attribute. This is for displaying a underline for the news headline. Here is the design, this is the heading, and here I put a underline for the heading. That's why here I use the view attribute, and there is another text view for displaying the news contents, article contents. And the first text view ID is headline text ID, heading text ID, and the second one ID is description ID, DESC ID. Okay. So now we have the two fragments. Now we have to add a class for the second fragment, article fragment. So we have to create a new Java class. So right click the package and create a new Java class. Name it as article fragment. Okay, and click OK. Extends fragment. Now override the onCreateView method. Create an object of view class. Name it as view equal to inflator dot inflate r dot layout dot article fragment layout. Now container and false, and return this view. Okay, now we have the two fragments. First fragment for displaying headlines and the second fragment for displaying the news articles. Okay, so on the first fragment we add a list view. On the headline fragment we add a list view. Now we have to create another layout for displaying each row for this list view. So now here I am going to add another layout for the list view. So create a new layout resource file. I name it as headline list layout and click OK. Now here we need to add a text view for displaying one row of headline, one row of data for the list view. Now here I am going to make the design. Okay, now finish the design for this layout that contain a text view with ID row item, and change the overall height of this layout into 45 dp and change the background into black. So here is the design. This is the one row of data for the list view. Okay. Now we have the two fragments. Now we have to add the information. Now we have to add the headline into the list view. So go to the headline fragment. First here we need to create an object of list view. I name it as list view. Now we have to initialize the list view object. So list view equal to view dot find view by id r dot id dot. We have to check the id of the list view. So go to the headline fragment layout. The list view id is list headline. So list headline. Typecast this one into list view. Okay. Now we have to add some information. We need some data for adding the headlines on the list view. So here I already add some data on the strings.xml file. Here I add two string array. The first string array name is news article, news title, that I add headline 1, headline 2 and up to headline 7 using item attribute. So this is the data source for the list view. So for displaying the headlines on the list view we need an array adapter object. So create an object of array adapter. It's working with a string. I name it as adapter. Okay. Now we have to initialize the array adapter object. So adapter, sorry, before we need to get the information from the strings.xml file. For that we have to create a string array. I name it as headlines. Now headlines equal to get resources dot get string array r dot array dot news title. Now we can initialize the array adapter. So adapter equal to new array adapter. First specify a context. This now you have to specify the layout for the list view. So r dot layout dot, our layout name is headline list layout. So headline list layout. Now we have to specify the text view ID. So go to the headline list layout. Here the text view ID is row item. So r dot id dot row item, and finally specify the resource. Here the resource is the string array headlines. So headlines.